Welcome to the Leadership Launchpad, where we help young athletes become effective leaders both on and off the field. Today's topic is a big one. It's how do you deal with conflict on your team? This is something that every leader faces at some point. So today I want to break down a 5-step process for navigating conflict, making sure it doesn't weaken your team, but instead makes you stronger. Let's get started. Step 1, acknowledge the conflict. The first step in resolving any conflict is to acknowledge that it exists. I know this can be uncomfortable because as leaders, we often want to believe that everything is going smoothly, but ignoring issues doesn't make them disappear. In fact, it usually makes them worse. So what does this mean to acknowledge conflict? It's about being aware of your team dynamics and recognizing when something feels off. This could be as simple as noticing body language or overhearing a heated conversation. Maybe one of your teammates is giving the silent treatment to another, or maybe there's tension on the field that wasn't there before. As a leader, you have to keep your finger on the pulse of your team. And when you notice these tensions, you don't wait for someone else to address them. You take the initiative. You don't have to make a big announcement or call a team meeting just yet. It could be as simple as pulling one or two teammates aside saying, "Hey, I've noticed something's been a little tense lately. What's going on?" Acknowledge that something needs attention, and by doing so, you can create an environment where people feel comfortable addressing issues instead of letting them fester. Step 2, stay neutral and listen. Once you've acknowledged the conflict, your next role is to listen. And I mean really listen. You need to make sure you're hearing both sides without jumping to conclusions. Staying neutral is critical because as a leader, your teammates will look to you for fairness. Here's what I suggest. If two teammates are having an issue, try talking to them separately at first. This gives each person a chance to express their perspective without feeling judged or attacked. Create a safe space for them to talk. Sometimes just being heard can ease some of the tension. As you listen, try not to interrupt or offer solutions right away. Your goal at this stage is simply to understand. Ask open-ended questions like, what has been bothering you lately? How do you feel the team is handling this? Is there something you wish was different? By asking these questions, you're showing your teammates that their feelings matter. It also helps you get to the heart of the issue without making snap judgments. Staying neutral doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. It means you care about fairness. Step 3, identify the root cause. Now that you've listened to each side of the conflict, it's time to identify the root cause. Often conflicts are about much more than what's on the surface. What seems like a disagreement about playing time, for example, might actually be about something deeper, like feelings of disrespect, frustration over communication, or a difference in team goals. As a leader, you need to dig a little deeper. Here's an example. Let's say two players are arguing over who should take the last shot in a game. On the surface, it's about that one moment in time. But maybe the real issue is that one player feels like they're being overlooked for leadership roles, or they don't feel like they're being supported entirely by the team. To identify the root cause, don't be afraid to ask tough questions. Help each player explore their feelings beyond the immediate conflict. Questions like, why do you think this issue is so important to you? Have you felt this way before? And what would make you feel more valued or respected? Once you understand the deeper reasons behind the conflict, you can start thinking about long-term solutions. And the key here is to remember that the surface issue is rarely the full picture. Now that you've know the root cause, the next step would be facilitate a solution. And it's time to work towards a solution. As a leader, your job is to facilitate that solution, not force it. This is important because forcing a solution can create resentment, while facilitating allows everyone to feel like they've had a hand in resolving the issue. How do you do this? First, bring the parties involved together in a neutral space and reiterate that their goal is to find common ground, not to prove who's right or wrong. Encourage open dialogue and make sure that both sides feel heard. Sometimes just having a conversation can clear the air. Ask both teammates what they think the best way forward is. Often they'll have ideas for compromise. Maybe one player needs to step up their communication while the other needs to be more patient. Whatever the case, guide the conversation to solutions that will work for everyone rather than just imposing your own solutions. Here's a tip. After the meeting, summarize what you've all agreed on. You could say, okay, so we've agreed that moving forward, we'll have clear communication about roles and we'll check in regularly to make sure everyone's on the same page. Does that sound good to everyone? Remember, the best solutions come when both sides feel like they've contributed. Encourage them to own the solution so they're invested in making it work. Step 5, move forward as a team. The final step in resolving conflict is moving forward as a team. After a solution is reached, it's essential that both parties and the team as a whole move on to focus on the bigger picture. Holding on to grudges or dwelling on past conflicts can drag the entire team down. As a leader, you play a vital role in setting the tone for this next phase. Once the conflict is resolved, reinforce the importance of unity. Remember, remind your teammates that everyone is working toward the same goal, whether that's winning games, building the team culture, or improving personal performance. Acknowledge that everyone has put into resolving the issues and encourage them to support one another moving forward. This is the time to bring the team back together, both mentally and emotionally. You might even consider some team building activities to solidify the bonds and remind everyone of the importance of working as one. Check in regularly after the conflict is resolved to make sure the solution is holding up and that relationships are healing. It's important to show that as a leader, you're still paying attention and you care about the well-being of the team. To sum up what we talked about, here are the 5 steps for effectively handling conflict on your team. 1, acknowledge the conflict. Don't ignore it. Bring it out into the open. 2, stay neutral and listen. Give each side a chance to share their perspective. 3, identify the root cause. Look beyond the surface to understand the deeper issue. 4, facilitate a solution. Help both sides work together to help find a fair resolution. And 5, moving forward as a team. Once resolved, encourage unity and refocus on the team's goals. Conflict is a natural part of any team, but how you handle it will define you as a leader. Use these steps to ensure that you not only resolve conflicts, but also strengthen your team in the process. Thank you for tuning in today to this episode of the Leadership Launchpad. If you found this discussion helpful, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with your teammates and fellow leaders. I can't wait to meet with you again. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, and remember, conflict can be an opportunity to bring your team closer together if handled the right way.